Okay, so for us, the today's topic is script include. We will be discussing about script include and what are the different types of script include available in ServiceNow. Okay, so script include is nothing but a kind of reusable code which runs on server side. Okay, so it is like you try to make a code, okay, which you can call from server side, which you can call from client side. Okay, so you try to build up some functionality, and anybody can call that function. Okay, so it is like a reusable component present in service. You write it once, but you can use it multiple times. If you see business rule, right, the business rule runs on a specific table. Client script run on a specific table. All of these things runs usually on specific table. If you see client side API or server side, but script include is one of the component which is independent of any particular table. Its complete behavior is dependent or defined by the code you write. So you may write one script include, and same script include you can utilize it for maybe change request also for for incident table. Let's say you are doing some sort of time calculation there, wherein if somebody is from India or somebody is from US, you are trying to calculate the difference between their time zone, right? Same type of script, same logic you wanted to implement on incident also, same logic you want to implement on, let's say, change management. Same script include you can use. You write it once and you can use it multiple times. So it is like a reusable code component which you can use anywhere. Okay. So what is script include? It is like reusable code component stored JavaScript for execution on the server. So script include basically executes on the server. You can call a script include from client side also, but depending upon different type, there are certain type of script include which you can only call from server. There are certain script include which you can call from server also and as well as from client also. Okay. This script include is a reusable component because you write it once and you can use it anywhere. Because it is not specific to table. Most of the business rule or client script you would have already seen that they are strongly tied up to a table. Business rule will run on an incident table. Business rule will run on a change request table. But this does not happen with script unless and until you code it that way, right? So what happens? A script include is independent. You write the logic and you keep it, and whenever and it won't even run every time. So you would have observed client script or business rule. Client script whenever there are four types, right? On load, on change, on sell edit, or on submit. Whenever either of the thing will happen, client script will execute. Same happens with business rule. Before business rule, after async or display business rule. These keep on execute. They keep on executing. The moment something happens, they will execute, right? The moment there one or two condition also matches, they will keep on running. But script include is not like that. You have to call that script include, then only it will work. Else that piece of code will be simply lying in the system. So to invoke a script include, you have to call it from server side or from client side. So basically, must be called to run. So if the code will not run, it will not do any changes in your system. It will not do anything. Even like if you would have observed like schedule job is there. Schedule job also gets executed at a particular time, right? But script include will not get executed unless and until you are calling it from client side or server side. When I say client side, it is like your policies also. It can be from your client scripts also. Server side, when we say it is from business rule or some other place, as simple as that. Let's say from portal which do you want to call. Okay, can be client callable. So I told you already that script includes depending on the type, they are server callable also, and they can be called from client callable. They are client callable as well. Okay. Majorly script includes, guys, this is one of the most important part, and this 100%, if you are looking for a basic joiner, right, for service knowledge, say 1 year, 2 year, 100% there will be one or two questions wherein they will be asking on script include, what are the different types of script include. Okay, so this slide is very important because 100% you will expect one question on this. Okay, so different types of script include. So we have something called classless or on-demand script include. Then there is something called existing extend and existing class. Okay, and then third one we have like utils, wherein we develop certain utility. Let's say we wanted to develop utility of taking average of the numbers, average of response time. Such type of utility we can create and store in ServiceNow, and whenever required, we can call them. So let's discuss about classless or on-demand. So classless or on-demand is like stores one reusable function. So script include, if you go into ServiceNow, what will happen? Script include can have multiple function in that. Okay. So it is like a, it is like a box which have multiple small boxes in there. But when we talk about classless script include, it will have only one function. It will not have any other function. It will have only one function. And this is the only type of script include which runs only on the server. It will not run on the client side. Okay. So this is one of the interview question. They might ask you which type of script include runs only on the server. This is classless or on-demand script include. Okay. Second script include type is extend an existing class. Adds functionality to the existing class, can be called from client side to client side script as well. For example, I told you right that we were discussing about that example wherein if there may be a catalog form wherein if I'm selecting username as my own name, right, it should auto populate certain details of mine. For example, it should auto populate my phone number, my email address, my address, my manager details, and let's say my date of birth. All these details to be auto populated. Okay, such type of script include you can write, and this type of script include can have multiple. This is one important point that this script include can have multiple function. Whatever function is of your own use, you can call. So let's say I build up a script include wherein script include name is like global util. Okay. And that script include, I can put a function related to incident management. I can put a function related to problem management. I can put a function related to user table. And whenever there is a need, I can call that specific function. How to call that specific function, we will be seeing in upcoming session. Okay. And the third one, as I told, there is one specific utility you want to build up, right? Or you want to set up a set of functions, right? Which you can use it again and again. Like you wanted to check whether a particular field is having null value or not. Null value means whether that field is empty or not. Such type of utilities you can build up, and whenever you need, you can call this particular script. Okay. So most of the time you will see that, on a high level, it will be most of the time it will be using this. Because third is closely related to the second piece itself, wherein you are developing the method and then you can call those method via client side as well as server side, right? So yeah. Now let's go and discuss about the form of how to write script include. So like earlier we had, right, when you call your when you want to write your business rule, you had two ways. You can write directly type business rule in application navigator, and then you can open business rule and it will give you a list of all the business rule. And then there was another way by which you can directly open a business rule was, you go to open a particular form, right click configure all and business rule. You are able to see that business rule there. But script include you cannot access it. You have to manually go ahead and type script include in application navigator. So let me show you this thing to you. So let's say we are talking about incident form and I have to write let's say business rule. So I have a way wherein if I open up a form, wherein if I open up a form, I can still manage to go to business rule via configure. Configure, I can directly go to business rule or configure all. If I click, it will give me list of all these scripts which are tied to this particular table. But here you would have observed that you will not find something called script include. You see, it is not here. Script include is not here. Everything else is there, but script include is not there. The reason is simple because it is not tied to that particular table. Script includes depend on what behavior you're defining for them. And these are independent functions. Whenever they are called, then that time only they will perform the logic. If you are not calling via server-side script, script include will not execute. Whereas business rule, client script, certain business rule or client, they keep on executing every time you do anything, right? So in order to get business rule, you can do this way, or you can go ahead and type business rules in your application navigator, and you can go to system definition and get the business rules. But with respect to script include, there is no way. You cannot go a form. You have to manually come up here, and you'll have to type something called script includes. And under system definition, you see something called script includes, and you can get can open up a script include here. Okay. So these are some of the out of box and some of the custom one which I would have created, which are available already there in the system. Let's discuss what this form will have. Okay. So when you open a particular script include, it will have something called name field. Okay. So this name field, here you'll have to provide the name of the script include. It's not necessary that you have to type hello world. It's like you can type anything, any meaningful name which is related to your business requirement. You can put that. Okay. Then you have application. If your script include is related to global, or anybody can use it, or global applications will be accessing, will be putting that global here. Okay. This is automatically based upon whatever application you are working, it will get selected. And this is the API name. Let's say you are calling your script include, right? You should not mention this name actually. You should be mentioning the API name so that ServiceNow will be able to understand which script include you are calling. And then let's say I wrote one script include, me and let's say Ashwini, we both are working in on same instance, but I want that my script include should not be used by Ashwini, right? What I can do, I can restrict my access via accessible from. So let's say Ashwini is working in HR module and I'm working in global module. I don't want Ashwini to use my code. What I'll do, I'll put like this particular option to specific scope, or this scope only. I will select there. This is a drop down basically, and from drop down, I can select like this application scope only. So even though Ashwini will try to fetch my code, but it will not work because this is limited to my scope only. Anybody who is working in global scope only can use my script include. Everybody will not be able to use outside the scope. Okay. Then we have something called client callable. This we will discuss more in detail whenever we want to call our script include and client side, such as UI policies and client script. Then only we do this checkbox. Okay. Else we need not. Then we have active. If you keep your script include as active, then only it will be called. As simple as that. Description field, you can put any description based upon story, whatever story you got. You can mention that description of this particular. Okay. And then we have something called. Okay. So this was the form. This was all about form. And this is the same slide which is talking about all the details which I have already explained you. Okay. So if I have to go ahead and I have to, okay. One more important thing which is there with respect to script include, and that part is like, the script include will not have, remember when we were working with business rule, or whenever we were working about with client side APIs, we saw that, on client side, we had something called, old value, new value. We had something called is loading, is template. But with respect to script include, you don't have any object. So it will be completely blank body. It will not have any object. Whatever object or anything you want to put it here, everything needs to be defined via, the code which is calling the script include. Okay. So it runs on the server side, first thing. No default object. There is no current previous. There is no onload, no new value, old value, nothing is present. Data is passed from calling script. So whatever script, let's say you are calling your script include from business rule, you need to pass the data from business rule. If you're calling it from client script, you need to pass the data from client script. Script include by default itself will not have. Okay. So the most important one, first one we are going to discuss about the type of script include, and I'll try to give a little bit brief on this. What are we doing on this particular code? Okay. So the first type of script include, remember we discussed, it was like classless script include. Okay. So classless does not extend the class, which means there will not be any class. Okay. So if you are going to write a script include, there will not be any specific class which will be mentioned here. Let me expand this little so that you guys can see that clearly. Okay. So classless script include will not have any class mentioned above. Whereas if you go to any other script include, right, what will happen? There will be one class defined at the top. And this you don't usually define. This will be defined by system itself. Okay. So if I go ahead, script include. You see, I was talking about right that I don't want my code to be accessible by Ashwini. I can set that scope for it. So it is like this application scope only. So whoever is working only on global scope, they can access. But if they are not accessing, if they are not working in global scope, they will not be able to access my scope. So let me keep it like all application scope. So the moment I type like, let's say I'm creating on some sort of utility, global utility, wherein if somebody passes, the table name, notification will be triggered. So if you see, the moment I typed the name, I didn't even save this record. This structure got created. Okay, the structure got created. This will not be there. You need not to have this particular structure when you are having classless scripting group. You can simply remove it and write your own function automatically. Okay. When we are going to use such type of code, when we are going to, when we are going to learn more about those class related thing and whatever we saw just now, right? We will discuss in further slides. Okay. So let's say in this particular code, if you see, right, there is this script include which is giving multiplication of two number. Okay, so it is just giving multiplication of two number. These two number, there is one function. Okay, and there is no class here, no class. Okay, this is classless script include, which means I can call the script include only from server side. Only from server side remains is business rule. You can call this particular script include only from business rule or any code which executes on the server side. We will not be able to call it from client side. So what are we doing? We have defined a function. Okay, there is a function called multiply two number, and there are two values which are being passed. If you see integer 1, integer 2, there are two values which are being passed to this particular function. And what happens basically is based upon those two numbers which we are providing, there is multiplication happening in between. Here multiplication is happening. Okay, and whatever values we are providing, that multiplication result is stored in calc value. There is one variable calc value which is storing multiplication of two numbers. Let's say I'm providing 5 into 3, which means 15. 15 is getting stored in this variable. And then through gs.log, that is glide system.log, we are just trying to put the value into log message of our system. So this is a very simple method which we are trying to do. Okay. So if you see, this int doesn't have any value. You have not defined anywhere int. Where you are going to define? From where you are going to call this particular script include. So we are going to call this script include through business rule. Okay. So via business rule, we will be calling this particular script include, and then from basically via business rule only, we are going to pass these values, those integer values which we want to define for our script include. Okay. So if you see, this is my business rule, and where what I am trying to do is I am trying to just call that script include which I have created, multiply two numbers. If you go back and check my previous slide, so my script include name was multiply two number. Okay, and the same script include I am trying to call because it is classless, so I can call only from server side. So I'm trying to call same script include from my business rule. So this is nothing but a business rule from where basically I'm trying to call my script include. Okay. So in my business tool, basically I'm trying to call my script include. So what I have done, I have written some condition on my incident table that whenever there is something happening on my incident table, please call this script include. So if you see int1, int2, these two variables were there on my what to say script include. I'm passing it from here. So I'm passing a value called 32 and I'm passing the reopen count. How many times any incident was reopened. And then directly by mentioning the name of script include, what I am trying to do, I am calling that and I'm passing this my int1, my int2 as parameter to my script include function, to my script include. We have to go back. We go back. So this particular script include was multiply two numbers and it will have same name. Okay. One important thing is that the script include name must be identical to the function name. For classless script include, it's must that your script include name, that is your this name of the script include plus the function which you are giving, right? Both should be identical. Identical means both should be same. Okay. So this is how we basically write script include, which will be called only from server side, not on client side. And what we do is basically we try to pass the value to this script include by simply mentioning the script include name and passing the parameter, my parameter, whatever we have values here. I can pass it 16, I can pass it any value here. Whatever I wish I can pass, and what it will do just do a multiplication of that number and so this is running on incident table. If you see business tool is running from incident table. Same script include, even I can call it from change request or any other table as well. Okay. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos on ServiceNow.